get my 6. And take out your earbuds or take off your headphones if you are wearing such devices at this time. Okay, so getting ready to do some mowing, and I wanted to talk to you about why I finally did it. Why I finally got a zero-turn mower, as you can see here. Some folks asked in a video I made a couple weeks ago, well, about a week or so ago, the day I got it, why I finally decided to do it. It's a Troy-built Mustang Z754. It's got a 24 horsepower engine, and it's a 725 cc's engine. This thing is a beast. It's like a dune buggy. And okay, I've used it once when I got it about 9 or 10 days ago. Well, I'm gonna tell you why I finally broke down and got it first, and I'm gonna tell you about its performance and what I think of it. And then I got to stop talking and actually use it. So I've known, for a while that life would be easier on us here on the homestead if we had better equipment, like the zero-turn mower and like the log splitter, which somebody gifted us, and a sweet weed eater I'm going to show you here in a minute, that one of our viewers, Aunt Rosie, gifted us a couple weeks ago, that has made life much easier and has caused me to, I used to laugh at people that had battery operated power tools, because I would say, oh, I'd like to see them get the work done on my place with that thing. Hey, this, I think it's 18 volt electric trimmer, puts any two-stroke, and I even had a 4-stroke Troy-built weed eater here a few years ago, puts them to shame. And it's environmentally friendly, it's clean, it's quiet, it's lightweight. Okay, this first. These things are expensive. This was a $4,000 piece of equipment, the zero-turn here. That's a lot of money for me. That's a lot of money for most people, I think, that watches these videos. We had other priorities, and we don't do debt. It's that simple. Hey, I could have, pretty much a lot of what I wanted, but here's the thing: I don't want for anything. My needs are met, and I want for nothing. I have my wife, we have our son, we have a home, we have a wonderful home, beautiful property. We have more food than we can eat. Shout out to our friend Lori, who today, while I was taking a nap, brought another almost carload worth of food by for me. We are blessed beyond imagination. But here's the deal. If you've been following the channel, you know that as of this recording, my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, and our son Daniel are back in the Philippines, visiting her parents, his grandparents, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, Dearly's brothers and sisters. Listen, that's an expensive trip to go to the Philippines, okay? I'm going to be a little open with some financing stuff here. Round trip tickets for them, bought 3 months in advance, was about $2,500. They're staying for a couple of months. They're going to need, money while they're there. And it's not like going 2 counties over to see mom and dad, you know, who still live in the same state you were born and raised in and grew up. This is 25 hours total travel time. From the time you get on the first plane in the U.S. until you land in Manila, capital city of the Philippines, it takes 25 hours. The longest flight, I think, was from Chicago to Japan. It was a 14-hour flight. It's a big deal. So the last couple of years, you know, the mower we had, it got the job done. It took a long time to get it done, and it beat the crap out of you pounding around on it. But we were blessed to have it. And Dearly was encouraging me to get something like this. And I said, honey, we're not going to make an expenditure that big until you've gone back to the Philippines. And we were all going to go back last summer, me and Dearly and Daniel, as a matter of fact. And we were going to stay for a while. Because, you know, Daniel was born over there. He spent his first 5 years of his life there. And then we got to the U.S. 3 months before he started kindergarten. And he's in 4th grade now. He's 10 now. So he spent the first half of his life in the Philippines. And then he spent the second half of his life in the U.S. And we were actually going to spend a whole year over there and then come back over here. Because we could tell that our son had forgotten what a world is like where your daily needs are not met daily. You know, it's not that we were going to go over there and live in adjunct third world poverty again, which we did for many years. Daniel's too young to remember it, but there for years. Dearly and I went to bed hungry every night, but we made sure the baby was fed. Neither Dearly nor myself told the other that we went to bed every night hungry until after we got out of that situation and times were a lot better off financially, because we didn't want to burden the other with the problem. I mean, we were stoic about it. We continued to work as hard as we could. You know, I caught flack on this channel once because I told this. Dearly's mother, before COVID, she ran what's called a sorry store. It's like a little convenience store where it's like a little cage you're in and all your wares are shown behind you. They sell mostly cigarettes and alcohol and, you know, snacks and stuff like little packets of laundry detergent, little packets of shampoo. It's a different way of living over there. I'd say pretty much all third world countries. I can't speak for all of them because I haven't been to all of them, but I've been in the Philippines, lived there for 6 years. You know, it's not like in the U.S. where you buy laundry detergent by the 50-gallon drums so you don't have to worry about buying it again for the next 90 days or whatever. Over there, most of the folks, you know, whatever it is they do for work to earn their money, it's literally hand to mouth. They make that money that day. They spend it that day for what they need to get through that day. And that's it. I mean, the concept, the idea of extra, of savings, of stocking up, it's a foreign idea over there. So, but Dearly would go work in her mother's sorry store all day, and she would take Daniel, and her mother would pay her $2 a day. Back then, that was 80 pesos because the dollar was worth 40 pesos. Now it's worth like 47. And I would stay in our little house we rented for $75 a month. And at times we struggled to make the rent. As crazy as that sounds, it's a true story. And I would write. I would just write. I would write relentlessly. Up to 10,000 words a day at times, which is the equivalency of 40 pages in a book, in a novel. And it finally worked. We didn't cry. We didn't say somebody else owes us a living. We didn't say, you know, we're in this situation because of him or because of her or because of that organization or because of that government or because of that political party. We were where we were, and that's where we were. We didn't want to be there, so we did what we needed to do to get out. And we did. And now we sit up here sometimes at this campground where I am right now, and we look around and we pinch each other. We've been here, we're in our 5th year now, more than 5th. Bought it in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, it'll be 5 years this fall. It still just doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real. But when we got over here, we you know, had a downturn. And it took us a while to get stable again. And, I was working at the post office there for 6 months, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, once 17 days straight without a break. And coming out here at 5 o'clock in the morning, in the summer. I quit in July. When it was daylight enough to make videos, I would make videos, 2 or 3 videos. And I'd tell Dearly, here, upload and publish these today while I'm delivering mail so we can make this YouTube thing work, so I can stop delivering mail, and so that, we can get back to where we want to be, not have to worry about, maybe losing this place and going back to the Philippines. And it worked. It worked again, This is kind of a long way of telling you why I finally broke down and bought a zero-turn mower. Okay, I wasn't going to spend $4,000 on something to make my life easier. It's true, okay? And I almost said a little easier, but actually a lot easier. And I'll give you some specifics here in a minute. But I said, I'm not doing that until we've spent the probably $10,000 it's going to take to send you back home to see your mom and dad. Because it had been years by that point. Last summer had been 4 years. Summer before that was 3. This year, before her and Daniel finally went, it was 5 years. Now, last summer, we were all going to go stay for a year because we wanted Daniel to kind of, he's a great kid and he is grateful. But man, we live in an area where we live in a very affluent area, and I love it here. And the majority of the people are wonderful people. It's nothing against them. When I came here originally in 1999, I don't know if this is still the same, but at that time, the county I live in was the 3rd wealthiest county per capita in the United States. You can look it up, Google it, Albemarle County. This is Virginia. This is horse country. This is trust baby country. There are tracts of land around here within a 10 minutes drive from me that families have owned. We're talking 5,000 acre tracts that the same families have owned since it was granted to them by King James 25 generations ago. I mean, there's just old money, okay? And then there's us. And we're very happy. We're very grateful to be where we are. But anyway, this is what Daniel sees. So we wanted him to never take it for granted, but we couldn't go back last year because COVID hit. And, we thought, well, this will pass. Well, we were wrong about that, weren't we? About as far as it passing quickly. But things always happen for a reason. And I'm not going to say COVID happened because we needed a new car, but around that time, our Toyota Sequoia was nickel and diming us to death. We'd spend $400 or $500 one month to get something fixed. 6 weeks later, something else would break. We'd have to spend $400 or $500 to get that fixed. And it's been my experience that once a car starts nickel and diming you, it's time to get another car if you're able to do so. So we decided, what? Obviously, we're not going to the Philippines this year. Why don't we take the money we'd saved and let's get a truck? And so we got the Dodge Ram 4x4, which is so much more appropriate for our needs and what we do here on the homestead. Oh, especially with all this firewood, and this big giant pine tree I'm still working on down here. When the trees fall, I'm able to cut them up, haul them off in the truck. The first big giant pine tree that fell, you remember that years ago? A lot of you found this channel because of a video I made when that happened. I think the video was titled, "No One Can Explain What Happens to Him in This Video." It's like I froze up in a time warp or something. It was really strange. I kept seeing all these like flashy, glinty, like lights appearing in the middle of the field just above head level. And I wanted to get it on camera. Anyway, I cut that tree up with an 18-inch Pullin Pro chainsaw and hauled it away with my old lawnmower with the little trailer that I pulled behind it. Well, I'm cutting up the one that fell recently with a Husqvarna 455 Rancher chainsaw that's cutting through that thing like a hot knife through butter. And I'm hauling away with the Dodge Ram pickup truck. So that has made life a lot easier. So we finally made Dearly's trip happen. So that was number one. My wife's going back to see her family, which she hadn't seen in years, superseded my life getting easier by getting better equipment. All right, so that's reason number one. Reason number two, I got better equipment. I mean, we were gifted anonymously to this state the wood splitter. So I'm not down there, doing that with the 10-pound sledgehammer and a diamond malt, which I never minded and which I've always quite enjoyed. But man, that was hard work. I mean, you do that for an hour and you did something. And somebody commented once, they said that the benefit to me having better equipment, like a log splitter, would be that I would be able to spend more time running and mountain biking and hiking and doing some of these things I enjoy because I wouldn't be so worn out from splitting wood. I thought about that, but we had not yet arranged for Dearly's trip, so I didn't want to spend the $1,500 on a log splitter because I was putting her going back to see her parents. I didn't go. I'm not there because of travel restrictions due to COVID. And in the Philippines, it changes every week, every 2 weeks. From the time we bought Dearly and Daniel's tickets until the time they left, there were a couple of times where we thought they weren't going to be able to go because the restrictions kept changing. But one of the restrictions that stayed the same, I don't know if it's still the same or not, was that non-Filipino nationals couldn't go just for pleasure. Now, if you had to be there for like while Dearly and Daniel were over there, God forbid, if something bad happened and I had to go there for emergency, I would be allowed to go. But just to go over to see my in-laws, they wouldn't let me. So, but we made it. Dearly wanted to wait until I could go with them. And I said, honey, since you've been over here, one of your grandmothers have died. One of your favorite uncles have died. And sadly, closest to her sister Connie died. I said, honey, if we keep waiting, you might lose more family members you never get to see again. Okay, next summer, I'll go with you guys if this whole mess is over and they lift those restrictions. And she said, okay, I'll go. But listen, the money we're going to save from you not going, I want you to get a zero-turn mower because I don't want you. She knows I do a lot. I have issues with my back, but I don't let it keep me down. I've learned to live with it instead of say, well, I can't do that because of my back. I can't do. Well, no, I learned how to do what it is I want to do differently because of my back. So, but even then, I said, no, I don't know. This other mower we got's working great. Well, then that mower just stopped working. And I thought it was the battery, so I went and bought a new battery, replaced the battery. It wasn't the battery. It's probably the alternator or the starter. Something simple that I could watch a YouTube video on and fix it myself. And it probably would have been a $50 solution. But I had gone out. I did treat myself to that Husqvarna 455 Farm Tough Rancher, whatever it is, chainsaw. And I was cutting up that pine tree down there that fell. And I was just so amazed at how that saw did all the work. Whereas with my 18-inch pulling, my body had to do a lot of the work, and I got to thinking about that. And I got to thinking about how much easier it is splitting wood now that I have an actual wood splitter instead of using a sledgehammer in the mall. And I thought, Kevin, Crazy Lake, you're not third world poor anymore. We have been third world poor. Dearly her whole life until she was, in her late 20s. And then me for probably 4 of the 6 years I was over there. The last couple of years started coming out of it. The last year we were out of it. We were great. And that's why we took advantage of the opportunity to be able to come to the U.S. That leaves a scar. I mean, you don't just get over that. I've had people here tell me, they say, well, yeah, but you're not there anymore. I've had people say that about, Iraq. Like, I'll hear a car backfire or something, and I'll say a word. Maybe a word will come out of my mouth that usually doesn't come out of my mouth. And people will laugh. I say, I'm sorry. It's a PTSD thing. And I had one guy say, I don't get that. He goes, you're not there anymore. Man, stuff happens. It stays with you. By the way, as of this recording, it's Memorial Day weekend, I believe. So my thoughts and wishes and prayers go out to any of you who lost anyone in the line of service for our great world. Not just our, I'm an American veteran, but I served with Aussies, with the English, with Canadians, and the people of Iraq were taking the hardest blows over there. They were embedded by people that would blow them up in markets with no notice. So we were all in it together in this last one. So happy Memorial Day. So I'm down there. I just thought, you know what? I just need to do it. I just need to break down, get this thing. And people have said in the comments too about just, finance it and blah, blah, blah. Listen, we don't do that, man. We pay as we go, so we just don't know. And if we don't have the money to buy something, we don't buy it. We'll save for it. I'm gonna be a little candid with you here about this thing. If you live in Virginia, West Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, it's like the Mid-Atlantic. There's a company named Schulz. Okay, this is what I did. $4,000 mower, right? I could have paid for it in full in cash, but I'm still a little hesitant. Still a little. There's bugs up here, gnats. I just didn't want to part with that much money all at once. Now, they have financing programs where you can stretch it out. I think for 2 or 3 years, you pay $199.99 a month. That's high interest, so it's like 28% interest. I don't do that. They also have a 120 days, same as cash program, where basically they break your payment up over a 4-month period. Okay, so it's $1,000 a month every month for 4 months. And as long as you make those payments on time, excuse me, there's no interest, no extra fees, no service fees. So that's the route I went. I hope my water, I have some water left in here. Well, I was going to show you this anyway. That's the one thing about when you're working outside. You got to keep water on you because you can always swallow gnats. Like I just did. So that's why I did it. Wife's in the Philippines visiting her family. Her needs supersede my comfort. That's just being a partner, right? I mean, those of you watching who are women, you probably feel the same about your husbands. I know those guys watching, you feel the same about your wife. That's what love is. It's when you put that other person's needs or even just their wants before your own. I heard somebody define love recently as they said the reason they loved their partner was because of the way that their partner made them feel when they were together, when they were with them. I thought that was beautiful. I can see that. So, because man, I feel so good when my wife's with me. So, and my son. So this is an Einhell. It's German. Aunt Rosie sent us this along with a bunch of other stuff. Guys, this little weed eater has blown my mind. Now, I didn't look up the price to look a gift horse in the mouth. I would never, when you viewers send us gifts, I don't go on the internet and Google it and look it up to see, wow, I wonder how much they spent on us. I don't look gift horses in the mouth. But I looked this one up because I wanted to give this short, sweet presentation here on video, maybe help some of you. I switched from gas and oil mixture to this. I don't know if I'll ever own one of them gas guzzling, environment eroding, things again, because this works so good. It has a battery. It's a 18 volt, 2 amp battery. This thing lasts about an hour when it's fully charged. And then it takes maybe about an hour to charge it back up when it dies down. Here's what does the trimming. Here's what does the cutting. They look like zip ties. They're very hard plastic. They're very easy to change. And by the way, the head, I did figure out how to rotate the head. You just push this button. See that? And then you can adjust the position, adjust the angle. That's what it does. It doesn't rotate it. It adjusts the angle. And these things are strong. I hit a stick when I was trimming it. I thought, oh no, I was going to break this because it was about as big around as my thumb. It cut through the stick. But when you do need to replace these, and I've only replaced this once and I've been using it a lot, that just slides off. See, there's big hole, little hole. Put the big hole over the thing and then you pull it up tight. It's easier than it looks. I'm doing it from an odd angle because I'm trying to demonstrate for the purposes of the video. That's why I always keep a Leatherman too. Some of my Bigfoot Sasquatch videos, people are like, "You're going out there with just a Leatherman? What good's that going to do you?" Watch this, brah. Fixing to find out, brah. People ask who brah is. Brah knows who he is. Watch this, brah. See? That's what good a Leatherman does me, brah. Remember the old XFL player? I think his name was Ron Smart. He ended up going into the NFL, but his name was He Hate Me. Back of his jersey said, "He hate me." They used to ask him all the time, who's he? He'd tell them. He'd say he knows who he is. So when people asking who Bra is, Bra knows who Bra is. All right, so it's got a safety trigger, push up, and then you pull this, squeeze this. See how quiet it is? It isn't even loud. Now listen, it's lightweight. It's way lighter. Oh, and by the way, the price, it was $100 at Home Depot. I looked it up because I just wanted to tell you, again, not trying to be disrespectful towards the gifter. It's lightweight. So like with the gas-powered weed eaters, and I have a lot of weed eating here that I do, man, those things it hurts right here. You'll give your forearm a workout until you get used to it. This, don't have that issue. Don't have that problem because it's so light. This, you know who this is probably best for? Women with lazy husbands who won't go out and do the weed eating. Because this is so lightweight, so easy to use, so quiet. Hey, if he won't get up off his backside and go do it, you can go do it. But if you're too lazy to do it too, well, can't help you there if you're both lazy. So, just wanted to show you that. And explain the... Sorry about that. My phone storage is full. I talk way too much in these videos. I could have told this story in like 2 minutes, but it's taken almost half an hour. It's all right. I'm sure somebody will comment about that. But that's pretty much it. I sold the old mower I listed it on Craigslist for $250 along with a couple of the old weed eaters, and I kept one for reserve in case something does happen to this one. And a guy was out here to buy it like an hour later, and because I told it in the ad, you know, this is probably, and this guy works on stuff, and he came out and he goes, "Yeah, this is a pretty easy fix." I said, "Well, you know, I don't need it, and I don't want to be, you know, that guy that hoards stuff and has just crap that doesn't work everywhere. Never want to be that guy." So I'm not. So hope you enjoyed this video. Now you know. No, I didn't win the lottery, didn't just start making millions and millions of dollars on YouTube all of a sudden out of the blue. Just finally did something that did something for myself that I was putting off for a long time because it was more important for me to make sure something else was done for the two people that I love more than anything in this world. So, see you for more next time from here at Homesteading Off the Grid. I'm going to go mow some grass.